be seeing that. And like you mentioned, a split map scenario going into the late game for Zerg going to be pretty useful here for Ninja. The countdown has begun, guys. We'll be getting into Metropolis in just a moment. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I'm happy to be down here in Singapore. Once again, doing a tournament in these time zones that are comfortable for me, watching everyone else be jet lagged and feeling great about it. I miss Tasteless, but luckily you're here to fill in for him. And
we'll see, man.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
All right.
Let's see what can happen. Guys, let's get into game number 2. We're on Metropolis, of course, ladies and gentlemen, and we have, spawning over here at the 12 o'clock position, as the blue Protoss player representing Fnatic Raid Call, we have Oz, our Korean Protoss. And he's going to be going up against the red Zerg from the Team Frey in the 6 o'clock position, so no close by air in these particular spawning locations. Let's see what he can do here. Very big map, ideally wants to go to the late game. Will he fall to a timing attack? Currently down 0-1. We have Ninja.
Wasn't that song How to Save a Life by the Fray?
I now have that song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But damn it, but that doesn't actually help because I don't know if it was by the Fray. I can't answer that for sure.
I'm pretty fairly certain about it. Anyways.
We're going to have that in our heads.
I think Ninja's going to make it in the group stage. I'm going to have to come out with a Fray reference. Now. All right. Standard here from Oz.
Yep.
Ninja probably going to play pretty standard as well. He could try a cheese, but with this map being as long as it's in the cross spots, I don't know if that's the best choice.
Well, it's hard to get stuff past the watchtowers. I mean, when Metropolis first came out, I sort of looked at it and thought, oh, it's kind of like Metalopolis in a way, in the sense that you hold the center of the map at the watchtower and you can basically see everything that's coming. It's not quite that simple because the map's huge, but that's the kind of theme that we see quite a lot. And you're expanding away from your opponent as well, like each base is further back, and it's just such a massive map. It's not like we're going to be seeing super quick cheese. But of course, then you get mind games in the meta game, and you try and sneak one up on an opponent sometimes. I don't really think that's going to be happening in this case, though.
Sure. Well, I like that Ninja just skips that natural expansion. He's like, all right, I know a probe's there. My Overlord sees it. I want my hatchery, and gets it immediately. Oz going for his Nexus first, following up with the Forge. Everything pretty normal, pretty standard here to start this out, but I want to go back and talk again about this map and the build order every Protoss in the whole world has done on it a billion times.
Sure.
Which is Immortal Sentry all-in. It's got such tight areas, you just can't ever break through the amount of force fields that they have. So it makes it so good on this map. And this map rotated out of a lot of tournaments before that build really reached its zenith. The build is more powerful than it ever was at this point. So that could make it kind of an issue for Ninja.
Well, we have pop quiz time. Quiz time. We have, obviously, this is the map where Immortal Sentry All-In, super popular. A lot of Protosses do it, and I'm pretty sure Oz knows his way around an Immortal Sentry All-In. He can totally pull one out of the hat if he feels like it.
Sure.
Ninja wants to have a way in the bag to potentially defend against this if it comes in. Obviously, it's super strong because of the architecture of the map. Are we maybe going to see something along the lines of, well, he just needs Lings everywhere because the map is so big he has more time potentially to, like, bake those force fields out earlier?
Yeah,
is that his strategy here?
That's a very interesting thing to bring up. That's one way. If people get Speedlings plus a few Roaches out and try to catch the attack part way and maybe catch it not altogether, that's definitely one way. To just go Massling overall sometimes can work, but I feel like, I want to see people go for that +1 Carapace if they're going to go for that, or the early double Evolution Chamber, which we've seen recently from Sen quite a bit, as well as from, God, I've casted so many games in the last 4 weeks, but a really awesome Zerg just did this the other day. It was Hyun. Hyun's been doing that a little bit as well. So I feel like if you want to go like the Massling route, maybe get those two down early because that's what's going to allow you to beat the Zealot Warpins. So actually, Oz, he's starting his quick +1 attack, and he's gotten a third gas. Oh wait, no, that's his second gas. Okay, Oz is being Oz, having his own funny little build order, which is fine. That's how he rolls. It's kind of cool. And he's left his gases in such a place that they play complete mind games. The gas of the natural is right next to Overlord, so you can see that. If I'm right now the Zerg player and I see that, I say, oh wow, 3 gas. Whereas, you know, the one in the main base, there's no Overlord up there. Ninja didn't scout with an Overlord in the main until very late last game, and Oz seemingly has played off of that by not taking that further away gas so quickly.
Well, it looks like, Artosis, we're not necessarily going to be seeing that Sentry Immortal push we were talking about, because a Stargate has gone down here in game number 2 as well for Oz, getting an additional 3 gateways at this time. Plus 1 is about to complete as well. We have got 2 Roach Warrens coming out from Ninja.
Well, I don't think that's on purpose. I think that's a little mistake there.
Right next to each other as well,
Yeah.
so he'll end up canceling the second one. He will see it, I think.
Well, there we have actually this attack doing a lot more damage than... Wait a minute. How many has he killed? He's killed 4 so far. That's
4 in total.
a little bit more than you really want to lose, unfortunately. You know, you lose 1 or 2, you're like, oh, okay, well, that happens. 4, a little bit more painful. But it looks like, you know, I wonder if he's going to do one of these warp into the main base things with this. But no, he's making Phoenixes. Normally you make Void Rays with that, so...
Oh, and this is, yeah, the Roach Warren, the 2 Roach Warrens got put right together. So obviously he wanted to build those buildings at the same time as that forward pylon gets picked off here. And, ooh, another one. He's going to warp... Also going to be able to warp into the high ground here. But what I wanted to say was Ninja's delayed his upgrade so much, because that second Roach Warren was supposed to be an Evo chamber. He just replaced that with an Evo chamber right now. And 4 Zealots coming into the main. That probe allowing that vision onto the high ground. Ninja's going to have to do a little bit of defending here, and he's not going to be appreciative of his upgrades not being allowed.
No, this is getting a little bit rough right now for Ninja. Those Zealots pushing forward. Oz has kind of taxed his multitasking too much. He's already killed 17 drones at this point. And in a situation like this, it becomes nearly impossible for a Zerg player to come back against a world-caliber, world-class Protoss the level of Oz. You know, he's 18 workers down.
Yeah.
It's so painful for Ninja. What can he really do to come back from here? The harassment has been more successful than what Oz would have wanted in his wildest dreams.
It's it's frustrating because he wants to get a couple of round of drones in, but then Oz isn't really going to allow him to do that, or he's going to try and punish it at the very least, because we have the Phoenixes coming in now towards a third base location. He's got that, if he forces a lot of units out as well, he's got that robotics bay going down, so he can follow this up with Colossi as well. And this is really uncomfortable for Ninja.
Yeah, it is. This is about as uncomfortable as you could ever possibly get. And, well, I mean, the Phoenixes are doing a ton of damage as well. I'm feeling really bad, man, because Ninja is a very good player, but, you know, this game definitely getting a bit outclassed by Oz, losing Queen after Queen, Overlord after Overlord, and just not being able to deal with anything quite correctly yet.
Well, Ninja, I don't know. I mean, another thing that I hear said about Ninja occasionally is that like, this guy is an absolute beast online. He takes games off, like, I think he's taken games off Stefano on the Korean ladder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he's a player who, in the Australian scene, some might say he maybe chokes up a little bit at lands. And I get the impression as we do, never mind, we do have a little bit of engagement here.
Look at this.
Ninja actually picking up every single sentry there and getting out with most of his armies. Well, that is huge for him.
Living up to his name right there, being a complete ninja taking those out. That was really nice, but unfortunately he continues to just hemorrhage units here to these Phoenixes.
It's frustrating.
But you know what? It makes sense if he's a little bit, you know, weak in the nerve area, because he's so young. You know, a lot of players start out weak in nerves, and the only way to fix that is to just keep playing in front of crowds, keep playing when it matters, and figure it out. A lot of famous players are just like that when they were young. So
no, you're completely right. But the one thing that I would say is different about from what I've seen so far in Ninja in this series, it felt like up until a point where maybe when he lost his 4th base for the second time in game number 1, it felt like there were no nerve issues at all. He was just going for it, and he was doing quite well. And then it's almost like something switched, and we saw the 4th not getting cancelled in game number 1. He fell apart to the timing shortly after, although he still almost held on really well. And then in game number 2, hasn't really been on the ball. That double Roach Warren, of course, there should have been the Evo chamber. It feels like something changed halfway through the series, and I'm really not sure what that is.
Yeah, it's hard to say. You know, I think just the harassment coming out of Oz maybe threw him off a little bit. You know, he's probably sitting there getting ready for a timing attack.
That's a little bit later on, so...
Well, on the plus side, he is back up to 70 drones now, so he's taking his 4th base, and he's sort of slowly getting himself back into his comfort zone. But Oz is now moving out across the middle of the map with a decent number of units, and the spread on his Phoenixes, like, he has vision of what's coming forever.
Yes.
He sees the entire map around him.
That is true, and, you know, I gotta say, yeah, he might be on 70 drones, but that's about half his supply, so he's way down on army supply here. He does not have the composition he needs. The Corruptors are going to be helpful, though, because there are 4 Colossus out now. So that's his real chance here. If he can knock out those Colossus before they deal too much damage, maybe then he can deal with everything else.
And he sees that the forward pylon has gone down in that northern location as well.
Look at this
the
army.
He
can actually run from this and target down Colossi with the Corruptors, and then with Fungals perhaps clean everything up.
The Infestors are in the back, though. The Zealots are actually catching up to them and slowly picking off. He cannot afford to be losing them like this. He needed a Fungal. There is the Fungal to keep the Zealots in place, but really, he needed one early because 3 Infestors were taken down as he was running away, and the Corruptors doing a fantastic job against the Colossi, but there's nothing here for the Zealots, only a bunch of Lings, and Oz is looking like he might just stomp his way through this base.
Yeah, it is looking like that. Now, he has knocked out all the Colossi, and he will lose his 4th base, but maybe he can rally enough Roaches to eliminate the rest of this army, because Oz is just going Zealots. I think he's realized he's even warping in only Zealots right now, because he realizes he has so many that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's... the battle is won ultimately on the ground, Artosis, and we have a huge army here of foot soldiers coming out here from Oz. Nice positioning here from Ninja, though, at the ramp, being about as cost-efficient as he possibly can be. But in the meantime, his 3rd base is getting knocked about by a couple of those Zealots, actually now moving into the natural expansion as well. We have 35 Zealots still on the field, and they do have charge, and 1-1 is complete there. Ninja trying his best to kite this, and I suspect... if he kites this all day long and doesn't get surrounded, he should be okay, but there's just too many Zealots everywhere to avoid.
It's too much damage done at this point, unfortunately, and, you know, Oz, this strategy, something we've been seeing more and more recently, people getting that quick charge, and bam,
GG.
down he goes. But Ninja, he took so much damage, then almost kind of dealt with it there. You know, if he had randomly made, like, 20 Banelings, he actually would have held, so that would have been cool, but...